Hello and welcome to another episode of Deadly Outbreaks. Today we're going to talk about the recent outbreaks of Ebola in Marburg. With me today are two special guests, experts in both the Ebola and Marburg viruses, Ariel Hammer and Raina Belsky. They're here to talk to us about how to prevent yourself from getting infected with these deadly viruses.
Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Of course! So tell me, what are some precautions one can take to reduce the chances of them getting infected?
Well, Stephanie, one of our precautions include just avoiding all contact with those infected. This includes their body fluids and the body of those who recently died of disease. Another precaution one could take would be to avoid all contact with wild animals as well, such as bats and monkeys.
Very interesting. Now let's hear from Raina. How can one prevent themselves from getting the Marburg virus?
Unfortunately for us, scientists are still researching the spread of disease from animals to humans. As for now, all we can really do is avoid contact with animals such as fruit bats, as well as the bodies of recently deceased that were infected. Also try to avoid medical supplies, including needles that could potentially be contaminated with blood or bodily fluids.
Thank you, Raina. Now back to Ariel. Can you tell me what some of the symptoms of Ebola are?
Additional symptoms include fever, headache, muscle pain, and chills. One also experience internal bleeding resulting in vomiting or coughing up blood, as well as pain in the abdomen, chest, and joints.
Now I have a question that includes both of you. What are a few things that could put people at a greater risk of becoming infected?
A couple of things that could put people at a greater risk would be traveling to places in Africa where there is known to be an outbreak of these two deadly diseases. Another risk would be organizing animal research with animals such as monkeys and bats imported from Africa and the Philippines.
Additional risks may include taking care of deceased family members and friends rather than seeking professional medical help. Medical personnel, if not wearing the proper protective attire such as surgical masks and gloves, could also aid the spread of these viruses.
The bodies of the recently deceased are also contagious, so preparing a burial for those who have passed could also put you at a very high risk for getting infected.
So sad. Well, thank you for being here on the show with me today. It was an honor having you. Up next, we're going to talk to a few victims suffering with those unforgivable diseases after our commercial break.
Beds. 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 Are you sick and tired of your old bed? I was. That's why I thought of the great idea to have a foam mattress. It's so comfy and so good. It even comes with a pillow. Visit us, San Diego County, Fletcher's Bed Store. You can get a twin bed. You can get a queen. You can get a California king bed. All for under $200.
Welcome back, everyone. Here with me now are two young girls by the names of Izzy and Megan who are suffering from Ebola in Marburg. How are you feeling today, Izzy?
I can definitely say I've had better days. I feel terribly weak and I have a horrible headache.
I'm sorry to hear that. And you, Megan?
I've been throwing up all day, not to mention my eyes are bloodshot. I have these irritating rashes all over, and I've lost a ton of weight.
Wow, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you two are okay and nothing bad happens.
Unfortunately, I don't think these two will make it, Seth. We still don't have a cure, but we are searching for one.
Yes, Raina is right. All we can do is hope they die peacefully. Though right now we are questioning how these two got Ebola or Marburg in America.
So what you're saying is it probably would have had to come from out of the country?
As we said before, going out of the country is a risk.
But I didn't go out of the country.
I did though. I went to the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
They just had a recent outbreak in July, so that explains a lot.
But that was July.
Yes, well, you just have a longer incubation period than most.
If you don't mind me asking, can you please explain what an incubation period is?
There are two types of incubation periods. The first is medicine. The time from the moment of exposure to an infection agent until signs and symptoms of the disease appear. And the second in biology. The time needed for any particular process of development to take place. For example, the length of time for turtle eggs to hatch is the state and how they get it. Oh, wait. Okay, can we just redo that?
Thank you, Ariel. That was very interesting. Now, Raina, if Megan didn't go out of state, how did she get it?
Contact with certain animals or just getting coughed on or sneezed on by an infected person can affect you.
I didn't know that Marburg was so easy to spread.
I think it's time to leave and let them get some rest.
You're right. Thank you so much for sharing your stories. I hope they find a cure for both of your viruses.
Right now, scientists are working on a variety of vaccines that would protect people from Ebola and Marburg virus. Some of the results have been promising, but further testing is needed.
Well, that's good news. Now, before you two have to leave, can you give us some further information on how to prevent these viruses? Can you also go over the ones we talked about before, just as a reminder?
Avoid areas of known outbreaks before traveling to Africa. Find out about current epidemics by checking the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention website.
Wash your hands frequently as other infectious diseases. One of the most important preventive measures is frequent hand washing. Use soap and water or use alcohol-based hand rubs containing at least 60% alcohol when soap and water aren't available.
Thank you so much for that information. And that's all the time we have on Deadly Outbreaks. See you next time!